5.5 games out of the playoffs. Could be reason to celebrate as they host the Nuggets tonight. LeBron should pass Michael Jordan for 4th on the all-time scoring list. But before we look ahead to that, did you hear what LA Times columnist Bill Plaschke said about LeBron on the Will Cain show yesterday? Listen to this.
You know, it goes back to what Kevin Durant said. And I ripped Kevin Durant in my LA Times column because I thought he was being a baby when he said it's too hard to play with LeBron. He went through all these things about what a different orbit it is, the toxicity of the environment. He said all this right after LeBron showed up. Well, guess what? Kevin Durant was right. We're all saying this. We're saying, oh, my goodness, he was right. LeBron, it's a different beast. It's a different environment. It's a different orbit. And he's eclipsed the whole Laker family environment. He's eclipsed all that. And he's kind of trying to take it over. And that works if you win. And if you lose, it becomes like a big weight on you. And I think that anybody who's worried about, and the Laker fans are worried about the future, those fears are real and those fears are pertinent. Absolutely.
All right. I mean, I was fascinated by that. Again, that was Will Cain's radio show yesterday. So what does that mean? Like, what is he saying? You're as close to this as anybody. What is he saying?
I don't like the term toxic.
Yeah.
But what ends up happening is when you're an iconic basketball player like LeBron James and also a mogul at the exact same time, you have multiple interests that you continue to juggle. And one of the things that he always has done is seen to tear it down to build it back up. He didn't necessarily have to do that in Miami because they had a leadership structure of Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra that was not going to be deterred in any way, shape, or form. So the times when he were upset with Eric Spoelstra, there were times when, he's walking to the bench and bumped into him.
Right.
Dwayne Wade had an episode like that too. You go to Pat Riley, he's like, that's going to be my coach. Y'all figure it out. And before you know it, they win 2 championships. You go back to Cleveland, they don't have that level of structure, so it's the tear it down, build it up theory. They change GMs, they change coaches, they change over the roster. We knew that was going to happen when he got to Los Angeles based on the dynamics of their roster. They got half of the guys on 1-year contracts that are veterans. They got the other half of guys that are still on rookie deals. The only guy that's going to be there next year, and they know it, is LeBron James.
Seth, LeBron, locker room.
Yeah, I think he kills your locker room. He has nothing in common with any of those millennials. In fact, he's separated himself. Think about 2 weeks ago or about 10 days ago. They're losing. They're not playing well. He's not playing well. He's not guarding anyone. He's not competing. He gets taken out of the game. They're down 20. Where was he sitting? He was sitting at the end of the bench. There were 2 chairs between him and the next player. That right there is a microcosm of who they are and where their locker room is. Look, LeBron's done incredible things. You talk about his ability to go back to his community. You talk about his school. You can talk about all the great things he's doing. He is horrendous as a teammate, and especially a teammate now where he doesn't have his guys. It's easy with Chris Bosh. It's easy with Dwayne Wade. It's easy with Smith. You know what? He doesn't have his guys. And let me ask you this, as a former player, in your prime, where you were on that pedestal, would you want to play second fiddle to that act?
Well, it depends on what part of the act it is. So if it's right now in Los Angeles, no.
No way.
But if it's in Cleveland the second time around, if it's in Miami, absolutely. Because he has a level of greatness where he can still galvanize everyone and make them better.
You were shaking your head.
Because I couldn't disagree with both of you guys more. It's like planning an entire world tour, Beyonce calling up and be like, hey, girl, I'm trying to come. And you'd be like, nah, we good. Because too much comes with Beyonce. It's like, no, find the fans that she needs because she is a game changer to this situation.
He was, though.
And an eclipse. I like what he said in that interview because he is. LeBron is like sun and moon. He's going to eclipse a lot of things. Like you said, he's going to break things down and build them back up because there's weaknesses there. The Lakers were losers. Did we just expect to implant LeBron into the situation and boom, fixed? That's not necessarily what's going to happen. I'm not saying he's perfect and he's done everything right, but at the same time, toxic is not a word.
He's not the same LeBron, though, also. I mean, like, we're talking about LeBron 2 or 3 years ago. All right, LeBron right now, he's not just carrying that thing by himself. He can, maybe for a series. He can for a game. He can dominate a moment in time. But you know what? At his age, you get a groin pull, you're out for a while.
But he's still scoring. He still has a triple-double.
He still has a triple-double because, you know what? the balls that I want to play point. I want to play power forward. I want to be more, give up a little of myself for the good of the group, but he never does.
The proof will be in the pudding on this thing, right? I mean, Paul George, we don't know exactly why he never gave the Lakers a meeting. Maybe this was part of it, and he just isn't going to say so publicly that he doesn't want to play with LeBron. Anthony Davis seems to want to, but are there any other superstars out there that are going to join him in L.A.? We'll know at least part of this based on that.
I don't think the notable free agents, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, go to the Los Angeles Lakers for the fact that LeBron's going to be in his 17th season. That's the other thing we can't underestimate. So he's getting older. The Lakers situation does have a big-time spotlight on it. The Golden State Warriors are still in the West. Other teams are ascending. L.A. is the place that we as national media members always want to usher players there.
Understood.
Okay? Mm-hmm. But that ain't going to necessarily happen.
Is it going to happen? Is he going to make them a contender? Forget championship. Sometimes you need a bounce of the ball to go your way. Will they be a legitimate contender with him in L.A.?
Not if they don't get Anthony Davis.
Well, okay. So Davis is the linchpin.
And I don't believe the Pelicans are going to trade him to the Lakers. So now that puts another season on LeBron James.
And they're in the West. And you know what? They've got a lot of ground to catch up in the West. I mean, you talk about how many teams they have to jump over in the West that are continuing to get better. They're not taking a step backwards. And if Boogie Cousins even leaves Golden State, that's going to be an attractive place for another player that will keep them in where they are right now.
And the one thing I will say, Maria, is that nobody felt like the Lakers would be contenders this year, but nobody felt like they'd be 11th, 12th in the Western Conference with LeBron James getting triple-double.
Yeah.
It has been disappointing, I think, is at least a word you might use. Toxic might be going too far. We'll see. Good conversation. Meanwhile, let's go to another team that everyone talks about all the time, and that is the Dallas Cowboys. Despite often praising Coach Jason Garrett this offseason, the owner of the Cowboys, Jerry Jones, has not offered him a contract extension. And this past weekend, Jerry was asked about Garrett not getting a new deal, how it might impact the season. And here's what he said. He said, I do my best work without a net. I really do. I'm better with a little risk involved. So in essence, there's a little bit of no net here. And the real question is, why not? He's not in danger of having any issue with credibility with the players or anybody else. It's well known the support I have for him. And no one breathing wants him to win and win big more than I do. We've got the kind of situation that I think our fans want. We have the big swagoo in our studio this morning, who, of course, makes his home in Dallas and played for the Cowboys for years and years, played under Jerry Jones and all of that. What do you think of him not extending the deal and putting Jason Garrett out there without a net?
I love everything about it. Look, the conversation that has revolved around Jason Garrett and Jerry Jones' relationship is the reason we've continued to say Jason Garrett is still the head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. It's never been the football conversation. Jason Garrett actually hasn't done a terrible job as the head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. But it's almost like that. I was having a conversation with one of my boys, Jason Hatcher, who I played with on the Cowboys team. We had lunch, and we were talking about it. Like, Garrett is like the good girlfriend, but Garrett is not the girlfriend that's going to tell you and support you the way you need to be supported to ascend you to where you could be, right? So when you get into a relationship, you're trying to find a partner that's going to make you better, that's going to put you in the right mindset so you can do your job at a high level, so you can move maybe to a higher plane than you thought you could ever move. Jason Garrett is kind of like that coach that's just like, oh, he a good girlfriend. Like, we have a good time. We go to movies. We have dinner together. We do a lot of great things together. But I don't think I'm a married. You know? It's just one of those situations.
I felt like it was just like, now Jason Garrett's in his contract year. Like, players go through it all the time. Well, you better put it all on the line in this contract year. Like, that's
the only question is, do the players then look over his shoulder, right? That would be the concern. I'm going to hold that thought there.
Are they all ready?
But we'll talk more. And I love the analogies of these kinds. I'm always fascinated by it. Charles Barkley.
You didn't get my Beyonce one. You no response. I waited and waited and waited and waited.
To the left.
Now you can't even do it. I just waited.
To the left. To the left.